when you think about what happened last year and you have the benefit of hindsight months later, right? How do you think that you guys handled last season and what maybe it could have been have done better in your eyes with the benefit of hindsight that you guys have? Because your mission was to let the culture figure it out, and the culture didn't figure that out. So what do you think you guys could have done better in that situation? And in hindsight, how do you think it could have played out if you could have done it over again?
Honestly, I don't know. I feel like, you know, maybe more of a, I don't know. We had I can't even tell you how many conversations we had, training camp when the incident happened to the beginning of the season when, you're trying to make sure everybody's on the same page in terms of expectations on a daily basis of how you deal with, personal relationships, how you try to be professional when it comes to the job that we're all here to do. Dealing with some of the uncomfortable nature of the remnants of that situation because we always talked about it between JP and Draymond, being able to try to rectify the situation, have the necessary conversations from a coach up front office standpoint. Like, I'm sure you could argue about should there have been a suspension or not, and it's like we had so many conversations and so many kind of back and forth in that moment of what the right course of action was, and there were a lot of variables that you had to take into play. So I feel like there's no regret there. It's just a matter of like it was an unfortunate situation that everybody was put in, and at the end of the day, we felt like time would heal, some of those wounds in the sense of allowing us to just be, somewhat understanding of like when we're on the court, we're here to hoop, and honestly, that's how it should be in the first place. We'd love to have deeper relationships and friendships and ability to let that expand off the court. But at a bare minimum, there's trust that we're all here to add value to the team. And I felt like we have bright spots, but we just couldn't sustain it. And arguably, if you think about it, long-winded way of saying this, if you think about it in the playoffs, uh, it's a tough matchup with LA, but a couple games here and there where I'm not everybody individually levels up their game and plays to the level that we should. It's a different story. It's just that's how basketball goes, right? Like if everybody plays their best, or the in each game in the series, the team that usually has guys play at or above their level is probably going to win. And that's why everybody watches. That's the unpredictable nature of the game. We were just on the wrong side of it this year, which then illuminated all the other issues that we had throughout the year. So it'll be interesting for us to have a fresh start and regain the culture that we've established over this last decade.
I got one more.
Oh, go ahead.
Logan, let me get one more, man, because I'm
you.
just my bad. I'm interested in this because I've never been in a situation, Steph. This is a long ride, right? Like you're in a long window of sustained excellence as a franchise, as an individual, and from everyone I know that has had similar like stretches of time, they say it can become, really exhausting, both physically, emotionally, and mentally. And so, maybe coming up short last year and having this reset, if you will, with the roster and having new challenges like bringing in Chris and figuring out how that works. You alluded to it not having to look great right away, but this is going to be something that you guys can now sink your teeth into in terms of another challenge. Like, how refreshing is that? Like when you're this deep into it, right? And now you kind of get to hit a reset and try to figure it out again. Like I often think that's important to have something new to tinker with and figure out and kind of re-energize and revitalize.
It's big if you take advantage of it. It's like you say, you go about the X's and O's on the court a certain way. You establish an identity, and there's like just a newfound confidence. I'm talking like our peak run, even during the KD years, where it was clear. You ask anybody like, how do we play? What do we do? How do we win? And everybody would probably say the same thing. Then you go through years like what year is it? 2021, where that answer was probably 20 different answers from coaches to front office to the players in terms of there was not really an understanding of what it took to win. And there's a learning curve there. And then we figure it out in that next season. And now we hit a lull this year where, obviously it's hard to defend, but a championship, but it came with a lot of new challenges along the way. And to your point, yeah, we have so many unknowns now of like, all right, me, Draymond, Clay, we really feel like we still have a lot left in the tank. We feel like we can, win at the highest level. Wiggs, Loon, guys that have been a part of championship teams and are veterans in their own right, understand like who they are. And now it's just about hooping. You got CP coming into a new fray, our history, us trying to figure out the new look and, blending different styles of play. That's an unknown. You got young guys that are trying to step up again, like I mentioned before, and figure out who they are as NBA players, but also how do they affect winning in this situation and in this organization. That's an unknown. So like, it's a lot. And I love these problems because it means that we're still, relevant. We're still, contenders in the league. We're still in a position that you have to take us serious on a nightly basis. And the fact that we've been doing it for 11 years, like it's kind of, unheard of in the league, in the history. So you got to accept all of these unknowns and, to your point, turn it into fuel to say, all right, we still control kind of our own destiny in the sense of this team as currently constructed. And you want to ride that wave as long as you can because that the business of the league can snatch your coattail pretty quick.